This really tells the story. A protest by British Muslims last week against a new film, and a writer and activist, Yassmin Abdel-Magied, at the same time outraged by the British flags flown during the Platinum Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth. Now, thinking about these latest two examples, I wonder how long Western society can keep going when it's got whole classes of people who just treat it like a hotel. You know, it's something that gives them a comfortable room for now, but it's not something they need to repair or renovate or look after in any way. They don't have an emotional attachment to it. They don't care who built it. They don't care about its history. They don't care about its traditions. In fact, if they don't like something in the joint, they just scream for someone to come fix it to their taste. And when they're sick of it, they'll just move somewhere else. Let someone else deal with the mess. The towels on the floor, the wine stains on the carpet. Which brings me to Yassmin Abdel-Magied, an Australian with Sudanese parents, and as I say, a writer. In fact, she's just filmed herself celebrating the publication of her latest book, which sells her as a revolutionary, a kind of race revolutionary, in fact. She calls herself a forever migrant. She's one of these anywhere people, cosmopolitan, but she still wants the country she's in to change to suit her. Revolution, you know. Now, if you have a new book, one does need publicity. And what a coincidence. Abdel-Magied got all that with another one of her now infamous tweets. Turns out she's watched close up how Britain, as I say, her new home, has been celebrating its Queen, the head of state who has helped to guarantee the stable constitutional monarchy that has produced a country so free and safe and rich that many millions of migrants, like Abdel-Magied, have gone there to live. Yet Abdel-Magied took exception to the flag of this wonderful country, all those Union flags. And she tweeted, "There are Union Jacks everywhere. It's like a waking nightmare." You wonder, a nightmare? Now, this forever migrant who has chosen to live in Britain thinks it's a nightmare when people fly the flag of that country, which incidentally celebrates the union of various peoples in one nation. The English, the Irish and the Scots, all the symbols are on that flag. And under that flag, Britons have fought and died to preserve their freedoms, like freedom of speech. The freedoms that Abdel-Magied, at no cost to herself, no sweat, no blood, now enjoys in full, like a complimentary chocolate left on her hotel bed. Now, for her, this is actually not unusual behaviour. Abdel-Magied did much the same sort of thing, living in Australia before this. Despite having been pampered as Queensland Australian of the Year, given a job as an ABC presenter on the national broadcaster, given government advisory positions, despite being just the giddy 20-something-year-old, but, you know, that whole Muslim vibe was great. Put her on. Yet the way she repaid that, like an ungrateful guest. For instance, on Anzac Day, when Australians traditionally remember those who died in war for the country's freedom, for its values, this daughter of Sudanese immigrants posted, "Lest we forget Manus, Nauru, Syria and Palestine." As in, look, forget the war dead. What about the supposed Muslim refugees, that wicked Australia has sent to Manus Island and Nauru? What about the war in Muslim Syria? What about the Muslims in Palestine that she believes are victims of wicked Israelis? So at that moment of national unity for Australians, she injected her Muslim causes to portray her country as somehow racist and hypocritical, seeking to divide on a day, supposedly, of unity. Well, for that, naturally, you can imagine, she was criticised. And she abandoned her Australian hotel, fled, she said, to live in Britain. But now she's tormented by all these flags there, these British flags. Now, Yassmin Abdel-Magied, take away her Muslim identity politics and professional victimhood, does symbolise in part the values of the West's cultural elite, the cosmopolitan class that consider themselves citizens of everywhere, not of somewhere. And like I say, treating the country they're in as something more to criticise than to preserve. You know, they can just freely move the furniture around, whatever. And seeming incurious about what it took to actually create and guard a society where, unlike countries like Sudan, and must put here a viewer warning I'm about to show, unlike countries like Sudan, where her parents are from, women are, in the West, they're not publicly whipped for wearing trousers under their Islamic gear, or beaten for other crimes against religious laws. But for others outside that cultural elite in which Yassmin Abdel-Magied swims, we see a more dangerous contempt for the traditions that actually make Western countries like Britain the refuge of choice for millions of migrants from countries far less free. A new film is out, which is British-made, written by a Shia sheikh. It's called The Lady of Heaven. Here's some of the trailer.
Did your mother ever tell you the story of the Lady of Heaven? She was very special. Daughter to the Prophet Muhammad. Lady Fatima's goodness inspired people to stand up, no matter what the cost.
Now, Shia Muslims might like that, but for some Sunni Muslims living in Britain, this film is a religious crime. And there have been protests in some heavily Muslim towns like Blackburn and Sheffield last week. Protests that have scared a couple of cinemas now into scrapping the screenings.
If somebody come and took my children, wallahi lazim, I would never ever feel like this. But coming and attacking the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in such a derogatory manner, I can't explain my feelings. That how can somebody come and attack the beloved wife?
That's some weird sense of priority there. Take away my children, I don't feel as much pain as this film. I mean, seriously? But what about free speech, which is exactly the kind of British value that has made it a haven for the persecuted and a haven for people fancying themselves to be a bit of a writer like Yassmin Abdel-Magied? Well, now that some of these guests have checked into their hotel in Britain, they want everything changed to their taste after all. And if you listen carefully, their demands actually are the demands of the woke elite, exactly like Abdel-Magied, who walked out of a lecture by Lionel Shriver mocking identity politics. She's demanding, like these Muslims now in northern Britain, that there is a right not to hear what you don't like. Free speech must go.
We are very insulted, and we have a right not to be insulted. You talk about freedom of speech, but where does your freedom of speech go?
This hotel mentality is a menace, and it goes beyond immigrants, obviously. I mean, look at the West now, raising generations of children without proper knowledge of their country's traditions, children who don't feel an ownership of their country, a responsibility to it. Doing that is just so suicidal. When even the symbols of your country are offensive, who on earth will defend it and defend its values?